I wish I was his Tamannaah. No, I'm just
think you started the
joking.
joke.
I'm just joking. I started it. I just thought I'll tease him a little bit, and then it kind of like really. I think she also said something when they were promoting their show or something like that. I haven't met her. I have never met her. I haven't even spoken to her, I would say Coco, Konkana Sen Sharma, because she's an exceptional director. Absolutely. She's an exceptional actor, and she's equally exceptional, I think even better right now as a storyteller. True. She's like wonderful. I would say Mard Ko De. I know people would want to say like Devilal from Dahaad, which like I got so much love for it because so many people have seen it. Like it's just unanimously the most. True. I have been approached. I mean, most DMs I've got ever. That and maybe Duranga is a close second. But I would say Mard Ko Dard Nahi Hota because I told you, it was a lot more personal also for me. We're doing that thing, and I was very satisfied. I was able to give my best to that film, and it gave me something in return. Although that film didn't run well at all in the theatres. मतलब वो मरमिट गई थी थिएटर में उसकी जिंदगी बाद में like when it came online it got its appreciation. I remember when we were promoting Shaitaan, I don't think I've promoted anything as heavily as Shaitaan because they made us do everything at that point of time. They spent more money on publicity than actually the film. So and I was so uncomfortable being myself. I was very comfortable being characters because I was so used to hiding behind characters and not being comfortable with myself. That's something that I had to really find a way to get over and be comfortable. So here I am talking to you as myself.
Today we have with us the very talented Gulshan Devaiah. Gulshan, thank you so much for being on our show.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Gulshan, let's start about something very latest that you have uploaded on social media. We happen to notice it. You spoke about how you find very few women in the theatres, and you were asking the social media audience, how can we improve this? As an actor, what made you observe this?
As in, I have my own ideas about this, and it's not very different from what people are saying. But I think we can agree that we want this to change. We would like this to change.
All right.
And we want more and more people. See, purely business point of view also, we want more and more people to see our work, right? And if there is an imbalance somewhere, then we try and see how we can change that. And a lot of it is due to people have given a variety of reasons, and women also, they have a lot of difference of opinion in terms of their reasoning also.
Correct.
And unless and until we all get together and put our minds to it, I think that change will not happen. And a lot of it is due to social reasons. Women don't feel comfortable going on their own. They feel they're unsafe, whether it's reality or not a reality, but this notion exists in their minds. Sometimes they're not interested in certain kinds of films, so it also becomes about content, what kind of films. There is a wonderfully successful Marathi film that's running right now to houseful audiences with predominantly 90% women. तो मतलब ये है कि कुछ subjects उन्हें attract कर रही हैं. So it's a variety of reasons, and I think it should be addressed because this is good for business also. This is good for storytelling. It's good for business also. They also need entertainment.
Absolutely.
Why should it be restricted to only them watching, content online or on television? Because I'm told that it's predominantly how women get their share of entertainment.
True.
Yeah, but then it would be really nice and for the theatre business, for the business of cinema also to grow. It will be really nice if we can get more women, which means more audience.
Absolutely, true. As much as we speak of your acting is versatile, your characters that you choose are also quite different from, the mainstream. I don't want to compare, but it's quite a different choice that you have. Can you take us through your process? Like, what attracts you to a role?
I think this is who I am. Like, I've always been this is my personality. मुझे अलग-अलग चीजें करने में मजा आता है. I'd like to sort of, I wouldn't say experiment, but try different things. I don't think I've done anything that nobody has ever done before. So there's nothing unique to it. But I think when you start having an idea as to how you want to curate your career, and then I have to sort of be truthful to who I am if I have to sort of enjoy my work and take interest in it. So my idea of curating my career is that I'd like to do different things. I'd like each of these projects to be of different sensibilities. So I'd like working with different people, playing different characters, and this thing genuinely interests me. So I think so far it's worked out quite okay. Sometimes it takes a bit of time because you don't end up doing as much work as you want to. And this is the common complaint that a lot of the people who like my work, my fans would have, that we don't see enough of you. And the reason for that is also that I have to take it slow, because if I want my career to be diverse and versatile, then I have to also make choices accordingly. I can't just blame, oh, मुझे कोई नहीं दे रहा है role, ऐसा नहीं दे रहा है. So, after a point, you should stop pointing fingers at other people and try and take control of what you can control.
That is true. But you know, at the initial years, you know, when you started off, did you ever think that, you know, मुझे enough roles नहीं मिल रहे हैं? Were you at any juncture wherein, you know, you wanted to probably do mainstream stuff so that you get more work?
I want to do all kinds of stuff. And many people considered me for all kinds of stuff, and some of them didn't really work out for whatever reasons. But different variables over there. It was a lot. I mean, now with the, you know, I started in 2011. That was my first year. I was very particular that I didn't want to do television, because the kind of work that was happening, the sensibilities didn't appeal to me.
Okay.
It was a very popular thing, but it didn't appeal to me. So I was trying to look for work that I am genuinely interested in, stories that I want to be part of, films that I would like to watch, or the kind of roles that I would like to explore. And I was lucky that I got to work with good people. But it was a lot more difficult because there was only cinema outside of that. And I was doing theatre, which I retired from because I stopped having that interest. It wasn't fun being on stage, and I thought that I shouldn't do it. Just because people want me to do theatre, I shouldn't do it, because if I don't have genuine interest, then I won't be able to give my best. Then it will start showing in your work.
Absolutely.
And that's the same principle that applies to my work right now also. It's a lot easier now because long format storytelling mein options aa gaye hain aapke paas. You have the series formats.
Right.
So which is doing really well, and people are really sort of embracing it. So you can have more than one protagonist, you can focus on different tracks. So storytellers are also liberated right now.
True.
They have more options to tell long format stories. So it was a lot more difficult back then. So yes, it is very natural that I would have thought that, you know, I don't know, like I'm not probably getting as much work as I would like. My first year was fantastic because I got so much attention.
Correct.
In 2011, because I had 3 films releasing. I was nominated for all sorts of awards, and people were inviting me everywhere. And in a way that people were surprised also, because they didn't know who I was. It's like, suddenly, who's this guy? Matlab, ye aasman se tapka kya, kahan se? And these were some of tweets that people had said. And when they met me also, people were really warm, and I was meeting people who were like insanely famous and stars, and they're shaking my hand and telling me stuff. So, अच्छा था, वो अच्छा महसूस कर रहा था. But that didn't exactly translate into me having a flourishing career or something. That had to take some time. And the reason is that there are variety of reasons for that. One of the reasons is that I think two reasons I'll give you. One, from the perspective of filmmakers. I think they didn't know where to sort of put me. Like, ye bhi karta hai, ye bhi karta hai. So sometimes it's simpler when you can be slot into one compartment.
True.
Like villain roles. This person
like
is
typecast.
It's advantageous
it's okay.
Sometimes, because people know what to do with you. Then it's up to you how you create versatility in that and stuff like that. Like Vijay, he does all these dark roles, right?
Correct.
So people, but within that there is a versatility that he has created. So in a way that is advantageous that people look at him. That's not really, doesn't mean that he has his career is uniform or like in one tone. It's not like that. So in a way that's good, but I didn't know. The second thing is more important for me, because I was completely overwhelmed by the attention. I wasn't prepared for it. So I was incapable of taking this attention and converting it into something that's really useful for me.
Right.
I don't know how to do it. I was very inhibited. I was very shy. I'm not that much right now. You learn how to overcome it and adapt to situations. But वो time पे मैं बहुत था, मैं बात नहीं कर सकता था लोगों से. And then I was sitting with people who were like proper movie stars, and they're talking to me, and I didn't really know how to channelize all that positive attention that I'm getting from people from within the industry also into something that's into my career. I couldn't do that. Yeah.
Understood. So would you say you have evolved as a person over the years? It's been what, a decade and a more?
Yeah.
12 years to be exact, right?
Yeah.
Since 11. So how would you say you have evolved over the years as an actor, as an individual, both?
Definitely there is growth. Some of it was slow in the beginning, and then I think I did have some quantum leap moments in terms of personal growth as well as growth as an actor. I feel more confident, I feel better at handling my career, curating my career, making choices. At a personal level also, I feel more comfortable and confident with myself. I say comfortable because I remember when we were promoting Shaitaan, I don't think I've promoted anything as heavily as Shaitaan, because they made us do everything at that point of time. They spent more money on publicity than actually the film. So, and I was so uncomfortable being myself. I was very comfortable being characters because I was so used to hiding behind characters and not being comfortable with myself. That's something that I had to really find a way to get over and be comfortable. So here I am talking to you as myself, feeling very comfortable, and I'm telling you, you know,
Absolutely.
I'm talking to you about my insecurities and things like that. So that growth was very important for me, because it tells you that this business now, it gives you a space. It'll give you a space. But if you're not comfortable in that space, if you feel that you don't belong, then soon that energy will transmit and everybody will pick up that you don't belong here. So you have to feel comfortable. If you want that space to grow and become a big space for yourself, you have to feel comfortable in it first. I wasn't. So I kept telling myself, like, this is the first thing I said, like, I have to sort out. अगर ये मैं अपने आप को comfortable महसूस नहीं करूँगा तो मैं survive भी थोड़ा flourish थोड़ा survive भी नहीं कर पाऊँगा.
Correct. I understand. You know, as much as you are ready to talk about it right now, it would have taken a mental toll on you at some point of time in life, right? And as an actor or as an individual, you know, dealing with so many things, also work, also the different kind of experiments that you do in your role. How did you manage yourself mentally and get together, you know, in whatever best you could?
Sometimes I didn't manage. It took a toll on me personally, on my personal life, on my relationships. It did. I was very detached from things. I was very distant from things. So I'm not particularly regretful of this, because ऐसा कुछ बड़ा ऐसे कांड नहीं हुआ मुझसे. So nothing really bad happened. But it was there. It does, because you don't know how to handle these things. You know, I knew how to work. I had studied the craft to some extent and had the confidence to sort of that I can offer something as an actor. But I keep saying this, it's easy to be an actor. It's easy to act actually once you learn things. Now anybody can act. आपने वो सीख लिया तो with practice it gets better. But the life of an actor is difficult because it's filled with trials and tribulations and hurdles and rejections. You're rejected all the time. No matter how big a star you are, you're still rejected. There'll be some people saying that, oh shit, it was crap. Or some people won't choose you for like to be in their film or in their project. वो होता ही है. You have to accept it. That's the nature of the business. It's all based on perception. It's very subjective opinions. So getting comfortable with that and getting comfortable with the fact that you cannot expect meritocracy. True. It can't be. It can't be. Like, you know, it cannot exist because you can't measure it. Merit can exist where you can measure something.
Correct, that's true.
At best, you can have an educated opinion about something.
Right.
That has some value, but it's still not 100% decisive. It's still subjective.
Very true.
So that acceptance has to come. That takes time, but once you accept it, then you're okay with the nature of this business, and then you see how you you make your way around it.
That's true.
It does take a toll on you and your relationship. It does. There were dull moments, and when you feel that I don't think anything is going to happen, maybe I should go back, or I don't know what the hell is going on. It does.
Right. What would you say was your turning point? You know, that one probably one role that you landed, or that one movie or one plot that you really liked about, where you feel that, you know, that changed your whole way of looking at things?
Looking at things, I mean, a lot of times while you're preparing for a particular character, you may end up getting some life lessons also, because you're forced to look at a perspective that you probably wouldn't have thought of. So like that, I think there are lots of times when things have, I've had these personal, like, you know, revelations that have been useful. But I think the one that really jumps to my mind is from Mard Ko Dard Nahi Hota.
Right.
I had a really bad accident while skiing, and I shattered my knee and I needed major surgery. And I was just turning down work because I was not in a position to work, and I needed to do about a year's worth of physiotherapy. I had lots of muscle atrophy. My right leg had become smaller than my left and things like that. In girth, not in length. So although this surgery was very successful, but I needed to put in that work, and I was like, I don't want to work like this. So I had to turn down some decent offers because I was physically incapable of doing it. At this point of time, Vasan came and gave me, he said like, this is the script, like would you do it? It became so difficult to say no to it. Also because that's when I realized that, you know, I shouldn't say no. I know it's going to be difficult. And I'll have to really push myself.
Right.
It's more that I have to push myself mentally than physically, because ye ho jayega. Let me just embrace it and say that, okay, let me do it. I'm sure they will create an environment as comfortable as possible for me too, because we had time. We had about 4 or 5 months before we actually started filming. And then I could take that time to sort of prepare myself. While doing that, I did realize that there was a philosopher of French-Algerian descent called Albert Camus. So he had written a particular line. I'm not really very familiar with his work, but I had read one line. वो तो आपको वो Instagram में वो मिल ही जाते हैं. So somewhere, I can't remember where it was. In the depths of winter, I realized that there was an invincible summer inside me.
Wow.
So that kind of resonated, and I discovered that line while I was preparing during those 4 or 5 months before filming. And it was physically, mentally very demanding because my leg was not holding up. I used to cramp really badly. There was a lot of action training that we had to go through. But I did feel extremely pleased that I went through that process, because it's very satisfying when you achieve something that you think you're not capable of.
I think it's part of the way you have also had a very diverse career, like you said. You know, with each role that you have to take back something new, probably. Does this keep you going?
Yeah, the variety does keep me going, because every time I'm thinking differently for each role. It's not like, it's similar to that or this and that. It's always a blank page, it's a fresh perspective. And then you put one dot there and it's like, oh, this is your starting point. And then how many more dots and lines, and so you discover. It's a process of discovery.
True.
So this definitely keeps me interested.
That's true. But how do you draw inspiration from? You know, there must be something that you probably have, like a character. You must have seen it somewhere where you draw.
It can be anything. It can be anything. Like really, it could be like in Shaitaan, I played Casey. Although when you look at Casey, you'll never see it. But my inspiration was Clockwork Orange. I saw the poster of Clockwork Orange, and he's doing that, the knife and thing. It's a beautiful poster, and it used to be posters used to be made by artists at that point of time, not pictures. They used to, like, graphic artists used to draw. And a lovely poster with the eye like that and all that. And one day I was having a shower, and I think there was a mirror, and then I was pulling that face, and I was like, that's Casey.
That's nice.
A sort of an anarchist. Although in the film he is not an anarchist, but his facade is anarchist. But inside he is not an anarchist. He's a fattu. He's scared of everything. He's a terribly scared person. So that's where it came from.
That is true.
I imagined that it came from an image, but my understanding of that image was different, because I found the true nature of Casey. That externally he seems really cool and confident, but in adversity he's incapable. He's scared shitless.
True. So, you know, you have always spoken about your chemistry with Vijay as well. You know, could you tell us more about where is this friendship right now?
I think comes from mutual appreciation and admiration for each other's work. It's just that we respect each other. We don't have to necessarily particularly get along, fabulously with everything. His style of working, his interests and my interests, apart from sneakers, are like, even in sneakers also it's very different. Like he only usually has the hype stuff, and I just buy whatever I like. But it comes from that, and then when you see people like that doing well for themselves, and you root for them, and I feel that he roots for me also.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he wants me to do well in career. So there's that goodwill hai. It's unsaid. A lot of it is unsaid.
Very nice. You know, I have to ask this. Finally, his Tamannaah is Puri. What do you have to say about that?
Nothing. I don't have anything to say. Like, I wish I was his Tamannaah. No, I'm just joking.
Started the joke.
I'm just joking. I started it. I just thought I'll tease him a little bit, and then it kind of like really. I think she also said something when they were promoting their show or something like that. I haven't met her. I have never met her. I haven't even spoken to her,
Nice.
We've not even had like a DM exchange or like a Twitter exchange, nothing. So
I hope she watches this and she at least,
I don't know, someday abhi to kabhi na kabhi to face to face hoga hi na. So I'm like...
That is very true. Coming back to work, tell us about probably how much ever you can about Guns and Gulab. We have seen on reports about your pictures and stuff and all about drawing inspirations from Sanjay. Tell us a little bit about it, whatever you can.
See, the whole thing is set in the early 90s. So inspiration has been drawn from a lot of things, from a lot of popular culture from that point of time. There is some homage to old Hindi films also in some things that I do. And with Raj and DK, the wonderful thing was that after a point they give you complete like almost autonomy to sort of decide things when they trust you, you know, and they do that with their actors, and it's a wonderfully creative relationship that they have. The things that they are particular about, they are particular, and there is definite logic to it. It's not like, no, we like it this way. It makes total sense. But when you bring ideas that contribute to it and that it, you know, creates more interesting layers in the character or in the script, they allow that space. They create that environment for you to do so. And it's a creative process. And it's a very satisfying creative process because you feel that you've contributed to this particular character in ways that you didn't think was possible.
True.
Yeah, so it's set in the 90s, so it draws almost all of the characters, they draw inspiration from a variety of things that were early 90s. And cinema was popular culture at that point of time, so you will see a lot of references from cinema. You will see a lot of references from professional wrestling also. If you catch it, then yeah, I'll give you a hint, it's in my character. There is 1 or 2 places where I have done something. Let me see if you'll catch it or not.
You know, similarly about Ulajh, you know, what can we expect from you this time?
I don't know what you can expect from me this time. It was a bit challenging when I read the script. The nature of the part was a bit like, I mean, I'll have to figure it out because if I don't, I'll get this wrong. It's one of those things. I would say it's a difficult part if you are not prepared.
True.
It's not something like, I understand this particular character, I have enough experience to come and play it. I don't think I was in a place when I read the part that I can do that.
Okay.
So I had to like take a couple of months and do some.
Okay.
I had 2 months. I mean, I did to do some rehearsals and readings and discussions and work on my own also. And I discovered enneagrams. I started using enneagrams for this for the first time. It's really good. I mean, like I'm not saying that you should believe in enneagrams or tarots or, you know, or sun signs or anything like that. But they can be effective tools for an actor when you're trying to create the illusion of a character that is not you. Then you can use some, you know, literature from everywhere. So I found enneagrams. I found that rather interesting. I just accidentally discovered it on YouTube. I watched a video and I was like, hey, you know what? I can use these personality traits to create characters.
That's nice.
Yeah, so you start from there. It gives you some base, some foundation. And then you build on top of that and you keep what is useful and you throw away what is not useful. And the director will say, yeah, this is good, we'll keep that. So so I was able to do that for this.
That's nice.
Again, it's no big, it's not some like major thing, but it's interesting. I would like, if other actors do watch this, give it a shot. It's quite useful, enneagrams.
For sure. You know, in your career, now this might be a little tricky and you can choose not to answer, but we would love to know this. Which is the most challenging role according to you as an actor that you have felt?
Ghost Stories.
Well, why would you say that?
Because it was full body prosthetic. It's extremely difficult. It's really, you sweat so much. Like I lost 3 kilos in like 5 days.
My God, okay.
Just from sweating.
Oh God, okay.
Yeah,
but otherwise,
that's not a lot, but yeah, mentally also, because everything is glued to you. And
that
it's
is true.
really difficult, and the contact lenses I had to wear were not just covering my iris, it was a full eye contact lens. It just hurts like hell, and every 20 minutes there was somebody putting drops in me. It hurts. It not only burns, it just hurts in your eye because it's thicker, because it's painted, and it impairs your vision also. You lose your, I would say easily 20 to 30% of your vision. You lose, and if it's dark in low light conditions, you can't see anything. I had to memorize, this is where the table is, this is how far I have to jump and all that. Okay. So and we had no idea it was going to be like this. And it was again, like, you know, it's a exploratory process, both from the director's perspective and from the actor's perspective also. I'm very glad that there was a stunt double also, Giles, which a lot of people give me too much credit for that, but in some places it's Giles because it was so physically, mentally taxing on me that I was glad that Giles was there. Giles was also the guy who trained me for that part, all the animal walks and stuff like that. So thank you, Giles.
You know, coming to 8 AM Metro, you know, what made you choose that role and what made you say yes?
Very simple. The script was beautiful. I read it and I wept.
Oh, use it so.
Yeah, I'm not saying that everybody would weep or something like that. Something in it towards the end really was heart-wrenching for me.
That's
and
nice.
I thought I should do it. So I spoke to the person who lives in the US. He's not even like a regular filmmaker. He's a very passionate person. He had written a wonderful story. And then
I think the poems also add a lot.
I didn't even go through the poetry. वो सब नहीं था, बाद में आया. तो Gulzar Saab's name was attached to it. But then, see, to be honest with you, na, I don't understand poetry. If I read poetry, na, like most of the time, I'm like, I don't understand it. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I don't understand it. But if you sing it to me, then I probably understand it better.
It's a feeling and emotion.
So that's because I've grown up listening to songs. So if गीत के format में, गज़ल के format में आप शायरी सुनाएंगे तो मुझे ज़्यादा समझ आती है. पढ़ के ज़्यादा नहीं आती है. So that was definitely not something that I had to consider. I mean, Gulzar Saab is a legend. Nothing can take away from that. But it was the story.
Right.
And what made Mr. Gulzar also be part of this was the story, because he said that in as many words to me. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, towards the end, we have just 3 or 4 quick fire questions that we have for you. You know, if you had to choose 3 books that you could recommend, like what Gulshan Devaiah has.
Less books. I haven't read a book in a long time.
Anything that you know, top of the shelf. Anything.
Any book, like any book that has a lot of pictures in it. Like just go to a library and like, yeah, it could be comics or it could be like a book of art or sneakers or paintings or like, I don't know, anything like with a lot of pictures. That way at least people will look at like beautiful things or art or something
that is true.
like that.
I can understand. Yeah. Top 3 songs on the top of your mind that you have. It's a go-to song. May I say?
Ooh, I was just listening to a Rahman playlist right now. So, O Bhavre, because I was just listening to it. And then Tu Hi Re.
Right.
And then Dhaka Laga Buka. I was randomly on YouTube. Again, I'm on YouTube a lot. So car में मैंने ऐसे screen पे YouTube लगा दिया था. ये Rahman hits करके आ रहा था. I was just listening to.
Okay. Top 3 roles in your own career. Like 1, 2, 3, वैसे.
It's really difficult for me to rank. I would say I will rank them in terms of significance as to what they did to my career.
Sure.
I would say.
Sure.
First, Shaitaan.
Okay.
Casey from Shaitaan. Then I would say Mandar Pongshe from Hunter.
Has to.
Really, like I think most people do recognize me as Mandar Pongshe from Hunter.
That's true.
Then I would say Mard Ko Devaiah. I know people would want to say like Devilal from Dahaad, which like I got so much love for it because so many people have seen it. Like it's just unanimously the most. True. I have been approached. I mean, most DMs I've got ever. That and maybe Duranga is a close second. But I would say Mard Ko Dard Nahi Hota because I told you, it was a lot more personal also for me. We're doing that thing, and I was very satisfied. I was able to give my best to that film, and it gave me something in return. Although that film didn't run well at all in the theaters. मतलब वो मरमिट गई थी थिएटर में, उसकी जिंदगी बाद में like when it came online it got its appreciation.
Very true. If you had to choose 3 directors with the directors you had worked with.
अनुराग कश्यप first because जो आपको first chance देता है तो है. Because not only did he give his opportunity, he gave you freedom. Like this is yours now, you run with it. So it's incredible that for your first opportunities, somebody has at that point of time he was just after Devdi. He was really white hot at that time. So somebody who's that influential gives you so much freedom and doesn't really tell you do this, do that. So I was lucky.
So that's one.
That's one. Vasan, I think there is something really that flows between us, which is just really incredible. I really like him as a person. I want him to do well. I think I get his stories a little better than other people, even though if I'm not, he's a cinephile, so he puts all of those references. But beyond that also his stories, like even if you don't get any of these references, like in Mard Ko Dard Nahi Hota, I don't get many of the references that are there in my film. But I understand his stories. So, and there is something, he's an only child, I'm an only child.
Right.
So I think there is some, he's from the south, I'm from the south. So I think एक थोड़ा सा special bond है हम दोनों के बीच में. Whether we work with each other or not, there is something that when we come together, I think कुछ तो एक
click होता है.
हाँ, कुछ तो एक नया कुछ होता है. That one. And it's really unfair to name, but I would say Coco, Konkana Sen Sharma, because she's an exceptional director. Absolutely. She's an exceptional actor, and she's equally exceptional, I think even better right now as a storyteller. True. She's like wonderful. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much on that note, Gulshan. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Gulshan Devaiah and you are watching me on News 18 Shosha.